When you're thinking about the topic of building your plan B as a wealthy person, there's a lot of different aspects to your plan B that you need to consider. From lowering your taxes to having as many residence permits as possible with the lowest hassle as possible, to multiple citizenships, multiple bank accounts, everything like that, and which options you choose for residence permits, citizenships, and company setups and everything always depends on what other things you already have in your plan B. So for example, the residence permits you get will depend on what citizenship you get, where you set up your banking. Everything always depends on the other parts of your setup, which is why when you're considering this, everything always depends. You need to always look at this holistically. So today I wanted to give you a combination of citizenships and residence permits that not many people who are building this plan B would probably even ever consider. Well, maybe they would consider one part of the setup, but not the other part. And I will tell you why this might actually be a very underrated part of many people's plan B, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why that is. And that is to combine having the Vanuatu citizenship through the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program with having an EU or a European Golden Visa. But before we get into the video and my explanation for why this combination is so underrated, if you're looking to apply for either of these, so the Vanuatu Citizenship by Investment program or the EU Golden Visa, or any other citizenship program out there, or any other Golden Visa program out there, I have partnered with the best law and immigration firm out there, Residency Capital, who are the original players in the space of citizenship by investment programs and Golden Visa programs around the world. They partner with the government directly from all of these programs, and they have helped more than 1,000 people obtain second citizenship. And because I've partnered with them, the deal that you get if you use my link down below in the description is that you get a free consultation with one of their experts where they can help craft to you your ideal plan B plan, which includes the citizenships you should get, the residence permits, the company setup, everything that makes sense for you. And they won't charge you any fee for that. They will only charge you a fee if you actually move forward with any of these programs, and they offer services for any program that you would want. So if you're interested in any of these, whether it's this setup or any of the other programs, you should at least book that free meeting down below in the description, because they have a lot of experience, a lot of behind the scenes knowledge of a lot of these different programs that when I spoke to them myself, for example, I learned that I would not even have considered if I hadn't spoken to them. So if you're interested in that, you can book that free meeting with Residency Capital down below in the description from my link. So with that said, why should you consider this setup? So first, let's talk about Vanuatu. This is probably the part that will surprise most people, because when people consider getting a second citizenship through a citizenship by investment program, which I've covered in another video on this channel on whether that makes sense, when that makes sense, everything like that, so you can check that out. The most probable option that most people will usually consider is one of the Caribbean citizenship by investment programs like St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, countries like this. And that's for a good reason, because these countries, out of the countries that offer citizenship by investment, have usually the best travel access. For example, with a St. Kitts and Nevis passport, you can travel to the Schengen area. You can travel to a lot of countries around the world. So why might you consider Vanuatu instead? Well, the obvious benefit is that it's much more affordable. Rather than having to invest, or by invest I mean donate, $250,000, even $300,000 to one of these countries for this passport, with Vanuatu it is only $130,000. So straight away you save a bunch of money, and you need to remember this is money that you don't get back. But the obvious con is that with the Vanuatu passport, you don't get very good travel access. Now, you do get access to a lot of good countries. You get access to Southeast Asia. Let's say you want to live here in Thailand, where I am right now, and you can travel around Southeast Asia very easily. You have access to the UAE, you have access to a lot of countries in Central America and South America, but you don't have access to the big countries like Australia, Canada, US, Schengen, places like this. So this is the reason why not that many people usually consider Vanuatu as an option. But let me now give you a couple of reasons why you might want to consider it. Well, the first is that it's a very fast program. While a lot of these other, especially Caribbean programs, they have big backlogs. It can take you anywhere from 6 months to a year to even 2 years to actually go through one of these programs. With Vanuatu, the process is much more streamlined. The other benefit is that it is a very crypto-friendly country. So if you're a crypto investor or you are in crypto and you're worried that your country of citizenship might impose some kind of restrictions on you, Vanuatu is not very likely to do that. So it can be good to have as a kind of protection against any crypto-related restrictions. Point number 3 is that it has very low tax. Now, obviously, you would probably not want to live in Vanuatu, but if in a doomsday scenario, you had to live in your country of citizenship, with Vanuatu, you could do that. And it's very far away from everything. If it's like a World War III scenario or something like that, and they have no taxes. They have no income taxes, no capital gains taxes, no wealth taxes, no taxes whatsoever. So you have that option again as like a backstop just in case in your back pocket. And number 4 is privacy. So Vanuatu has enacted some very strict legislation on privacy, and especially for wealthy people in this age where privacy is becoming more and more of a concern for especially wealthy people, this can also be a very good reason to have this citizenship. Now, of course, you wouldn't have the Vanuatu passport as your only citizenship. That is why I said earlier that this can really make sense in situations where you already have a good passport. Let's say you already have the Canadian citizenship or something like that, and you don't think that you want to renounce them, but you just want to have a second option in your back pocket just in case, just to make sure in some very bad scenario, you don't have to just rely on one country. If you think you will want to renounce your original citizenship, like you are a US citizen and you want to renounce because you don't want to pay citizenship-based taxation, then this is probably not the best option. But given that the travel access with the Vanuatu citizenship isn't so great, this is where the second part of the setup comes in, which is the EU Golden Visa. Now, the great part about the EU Golden Visa compared to many other Golden Visas out there is that rather than just giving you access to one country, it gives you access to an entire region. Not to live, but at least to travel to the entire Schengen region for up to 90 days. So this essentially fixes the problem of not having good travel access, because not only do you get access to the entire Schengen region to travel to, often other countries like the US, Australia, Japan, countries like this will make it easier for you to get a tourist visa if you hold a residence permit in Schengen. So how do you get one of these EU Golden Visas? Well, basically, usually it involves investing some amount of money, starting around 250,000 euros, 300,000 euros for the more affordable option, depending on the country, the path you choose. It can either be in real estate, or in some cases a real estate fund, or some cases a fund investment or something like that. And with that, you get access to, in some cases, a de facto lifetime or a permanent residence in an EU country. So at that point, even if you have this Vanuatu citizenship, it doesn't matter that it doesn't have great travel access, because with this EU Golden Visa, you now have this travel access. And you also have the optionality of forever having the opportunity to live in one of these countries that offer these Golden Visas, like Greece, Portugal, Hungary, and countries like this. And you might say, well, with this path, you need to have access to even more money than $250,000, because you need to get the EU Golden Visa, which is going to require at least 250,000 euros, plus the donation to Vanuatu of 130K. Sure, that is true, but obviously with the EU Golden Visa, this is an investment, it is not a donation. So really the money that you pay, that you don't get back, is much lower, in fact almost half compared to one of the Caribbean passports. So again, I'm not saying this is the best option for everyone, I'm just offering this as an alternative that I haven't really seen anyone talk about out there as a potential, like a bang for buck second option out there for those kinds of people who don't have immediate need to actually use this passport to travel, but just want to have this second option while still maintaining that travel access. I don't care if you go for this setup or any other setup or something like that, because if you use Vance's Capital Services down below in the description, whichever citizenship program is right for you, they are happy to help you. So I'm not pushing this to you because I have a particular interest in you doing this. I'm just offering it as an alternative, or at least something to think about, which not many people probably have considered. Now, if you're wondering which countries in Europe offer EU Golden Visas, what are the requirements, which one is the best for you depending on your situation, I made a full guide on EU Golden Visas, which you can watch right here to find out exactly which one of these programs you should go for. So definitely watch that video next, and I will see you in the next one.